Try this again. Yep. So I think the first live froze. For some reason it wasn't loading. So I just re-upped it. So hopefully this one is working. Let me see if I can open it here. Yeah, so this one looks like it's loading. Yep. Yeah, this one looks like it's good. Yeah, before I was putting up the slides and nothing was loading for some reason. I think the YouTube app probably crashed. But Royal Minds, where are you commenting in from? And for the other 3 people here, can y'all chime in the comment section and let me know where y'all are coming in from? So yeah, I had to cancel the previous live. I don't know what happened. It just froze. North Carolina. Nice, nice. So hey, Nayaira H from North Carolina. And hello, Alex from Florida with the with the cat picture. Okay, so North Carolina and South Carolina in the building. Nice, nice. So in today's session, we're going to delve into some, dysfunctional family dynamics, how to break these cycles. So that's the topic for today. And, if you have any questions, we'll tap into those questions also. All right, so it looks like a couple more people are coming in. So we have 7 people. And for the other people that just joined in, can you let me know where y'all are commenting from? So we have North Carolina, South Carolina, and we have Florida in the building. So, East Coast people are here. Hey there, Holy. Saw you yesterday. Hi, Holy from Canada, and Lynn Rose from Minnesota. All right, nice. Did you hear static in the audio? Is the audio clear for anybody? Is anybody hearing static? And shout outs to Candy B from Texas. But let me know if the audio sounds okay. Hmm. I think the live is acting up today. Let me see what could be causing that. Audio. What's the mic settings on this thing? Uh, let's see if I can adjust the mic. Can I? Let me see if I can swap over the mic. Yeah, so hopefully the audio isn't too bad because I can change the microphone settings while the live is on. But what I can do though is for the upcoming lives, I can use an external microphone. Let me see. If I can change the webcam. Yes, I cannot. I don't see an option to change the microphone settings. But what I'll do is for the upcoming lives, and I'll let you know when the upcoming lives are coming in. I'll use the external mic instead of the built-in one on the laptop. Yeah, so yeah, something happened. Something is happening on YouTube today. I launched the first live and then it froze, and then this one here may be a little bit laggy. All right, so Holy writes, best videos. You helped me connect spiritual warfare and the narc attacks. I had no idea before I found you. And I appreciate the comment, Holy, because the reason why I created the channel in the first place was because I saw that was missing, right? That spiritual warfare element. And especially for those of us that were hunted, since our childhood years, it is important that you understand the warfare that you're going through, because if you just think that it's just this psychological thing, you haven't really seen the entire picture. And it is important that you see the full picture, right? Because that is how you're going to heal. And as spiritual beings, and if you're dealing with spiritual warfare, you need to understand that. How do you protect yourself spiritually? Right? How do you protect yourself psychologically and physically, but especially again spiritually? Because if you don't get that deep, you most likely will end up with some other toxic person because you couldn't truly see to the depth of what you were dealing with. And then, we can even talk about some of the paranormal stuff that happens, or the supernatural stuff that happens. But it is important that you see it at that depth, because you won't properly heal otherwise. So stay tuned to the channel. I'll let you know when the next live is. I'll probably do some pop-up live sessions like over the weekends to see if I can get, maybe more people have free time on the weekends opposed to like these morning hours. Or, I'll do some pop-up sessions in the nighttime also. And I'll probably run a poll to see, maybe what time works best for most people, and then we'll figure it out from there. Let me bring up the Hawkins scale. Hawkins scale. There we go. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, you'll definitely see supernatural things. Especially for the narcissists that are more possessed. Right. Yeah. So the ones that are more possessed will see more paranormal or supernatural activity around them. And you very well may think that you're going crazy, if you're seeing things that you shouldn't be seeing, but you're seeing exactly what is happening. You're seeing into the spirit realm, and your spiritual gifts are becoming activated. And the reason why a lot of the channels, that you see on YouTube, the reason why they don't go that deep is because they cannot go that deep. They'll go as deep as the psyche or the psychological realm, but they don't truly understand the realm behind that, which is the spirit realm. And again, to see into the spirit realm, you have to have the gift of sight. You have to have the gift of insight. And everybody doesn't have that gift. So that is important for you to know. Yep. And then, there you go. Alex is saying that they also saw a lot of supernatural stuff. That is how you know that it's spiritual. Yep. So yeah, you will see stuff. You will smell the entity. You will feel the presence. Maybe you get dreams, paranormal dreams, insomnia, um, sleep paralysis. Yep, that foul smell, because you're smelling an unclean spirit. And an unclean spirit is not gonna smell like perfume, right? It's gonna smell foul, rotten egg, rotten flesh. An odor that you're not going to forget it if you've smelled it, because it's not from here, it's from the underworld. You will know, ammonia, that horrible smell. Nope, there you go. Nayara writes, I also felt it, like a strong sense of darkness. Yes, a very palpable dark force. You'll feel it, and that force can move, depending on what is happening, because it's a disembodied spirit, and it can move, can move through walls, very well. If it's in that form, it can teleport, astral project, time travel. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very good point. Pody writes, it was the most disgusting smell, and it was just in one area. Yes. So sometimes the smell or even the feeling can be isolated in a corner. Maybe it's a room, a closet, maybe in a basement, in a corner of the basement. And other times the smell or the feeling can travel, and sometimes the scent will try to attach to you, right? The scent will follow you around because that is the entity, and the unclean spirit then will be trying to attach to you until that covenant or until that agreement is broken. And again, if we were entangled with the pathological narcissist, we were in agreement with these entities. That's the unfortunate reality. So yeah, sometimes it's isolated, and other times the entity will travel, depending on what it's doing. So it looks like a couple of people just joined in. You all are chiming in. We're talking about some of the spiritual stuff that you see, or the spiritual signs that you'll see when you're entangled with a narcissist, sociopathic narcissist, psychopathic narcissist, histrionic narcissist, again, people that are at the bottom of the consciousness ladder. And Alex writes, it never accessed my room. My room was light and smelled good. Yep. So that could definitely happen. If the energy in or around your room is too positive, there's like a spiritual barrier, so it can't get into your room. So there are other times though that the entity, again, depending on what is happening, it will move around and try to follow you, because what it is doing is it is trying to siphon your energy, because these entities feed on chi, they feed on source, they feed on your energy, whether it's your emotional energy, whatever you're sending to it, it's energy. And Holy Rights says, is it there to attach? Yes. So the entity number one was attached to the narcissist, sociopath, whatever title you want to give, the possessed person, right? So it was attached to them and possessing them, and then it was trying to attach to you to oppress you, because demons feed on chi, they feed on source, they feed on energy. So they feed on life force energy, like a parasite. So that parasite was trying to attach to you, because as a matter of fact, it was feeding on you. Again, whatever relationship, if it was an intimate relationship that you were in, it was feeding on you. That is why you were drained. That I call it underworldly lethargy. It's a type of tiredness that is not from this realm if you were entangled with a narcissist. And again, that is the spiritual warfare, right? It is siphoning your energy like a succubus entity. It's feeding on you. So it was attached to the narcissist, and then it tries to attach to you. And that is why it's in your home. And that is why it can also follow you around. Again, know that the entity can move because it's a disembodied spirit. And sometimes it gets a body when it possesses a person, but it's a disembodied spirit. And let's see, Lynn Rose writes, let me see. Yep, my ex-husband turned into a different person one day, and he became very violent, like he hated me and the baby inside of me. He was never ever harsh any other time. Yep, yeah, these are the unfortunate things that happen with these narcissists. So know that when you see those different personalities, y'all, coming out of the narcissist, those are the spirits that are inhabiting them, right? Those are the malevolent spirits. So, today they're one person, and in another hour they're another person. Like they have a split personality. That those are the entities. Those are the legion of entities, because know that these entities travel in teams, right? They are social creatures, just like cockroaches, right? And they travel in teams, meaning whatever entity, that are similar at that vibration, they will travel together, and they'll just swap in and out of the narcissist. They'll jump, one jumps in, one jumps out, another one jumps in, and so on. And they'll just use the host's body to do whatever they want. Yep. Alex writes, it's a very terrifying and isolating experience when nobody else sees it. Yeah, that's a very good point. And today, in your newfound awareness, then, know that it's important that you understand that you very well may be around others that cannot see because they do not have the gift of sight, right? Your insight, your clear voyance, right, is a gift. Everybody does not have that gift, and that is why they may not be able to see what you can see to the level that you can see it, right? They only have physical sight, but you have physical sight and you have spiritual insight. That spiritual insight, again, some people may not have it, and again, the clear olfactance, the smelling, again, other people may not be able to do that because you're not in tune with the spirit realm as you are. Very important that you understand that. So let me bring up another slide here really quick. Give me a quick second. Let me see what number. So I'm going to bring up the slide regarding the different entities. Let me see. Where is it? So keep the questions coming. I'm going to get to them here in just a minute, but I'm going to swap. I'm going to swap over the slide to another one that I think is going to help y'all. Let's see. Slide number. '93. Okay, slide number 93. Let me bring up slide 93 for y'all. 93. Ready? There you go. Now let's see. Yep, yeah, you'll definitely see that. So that's a good comment there by Global. So Global writes, in hindsight, I did what I promised myself. I stuck to my principles, yet others' betrayal was my downfall. Yeah, going through this toxic entanglement, you will be betrayed, but it's important that we learn the lessons from this betrayal, in learning, that these people saw something within us that they did not have, and because of that, they were trying to destroy us. Yeah, good, very good point by Alex also, in that yeah, your angel guides, your spirit guides, your ancestors, your protective team, they're protecting you even if you didn't see them before, right? But in the awakening, normally you are more aware of your spiritual protection. And that is why those entities couldn't possess you. They'll try to attack you, but they couldn't possess you to the degree that the narcissist is possessed. And holy rights, can it attach to children? Yes, it can. And these entities actually like children more because children have more positive fuel or positive supply or positive chi, you know. So it can attack young people. It could also attack the elderly. And this is why you have to understand spiritual warfare. You get what I mean? Because these entities love to attack children to get their souls before they reach 12 years old. You can write that down if you need to. They'll attack children to get their souls before 12 years old. That is what happened with the narcissist people. So protect your children. Your children should not be left around narcissists. For anybody that is going through a divorce, do the best that you can. Separation. Narcissists, again, anybody that is demon possessed is not a healthy person that you want around your children. So them at the physical level, and also those entities again that are attached to them in the spirit realm, will attack young people. They especially love to do that. And if you think about this like a animal, if you're watching National Geographic or Discovery Channel, and when you see a lion on the Serengeti hunting, they like to hunt and they'll catch the young because they're younger and they're slower. You get what I mean? And it's the same thing with these entities. And hey, Ellie, happy that you're here. And Ellie, let me know, where are you commenting in from? What state, country, where are you coming in from? Yep, Lynn Rose writes, you're thinking that is something astrological, right? So I thought it was because he was a Gemini. However, he had a love bombing twin and an evil twin. Yep, that's it. Nasty, nice, nasty, nice. But what it really is that the mask is the nice thing that you were seeing. But what is behind there in the spirit realm is the evil spirit, or spirits, again, plural. That is what you were dealing with at the spirit realm. Those multiple personalities are those multiple demons, again, in the spirit realm. Very important that you understand that. You have to learn to discern the spirit that is occupying the person. Let's see. Yeah, so Alex writes, are we all scapegoats? Yes, most of us are scapegoats, and I can switch back to that slide really quick. If you're on this channel, and I have a playlist talking about the narcissistic dysfunctional family system, know that most of us were groomed to be in the scapegoat role, the lost child role, or the surrogate parent role. And this means that, all of this trauma was dumped onto us. And then, it is going to be our goal to stop the cycle, right? Stop this cycle. This is what we don't need to repeat, right? So who's the scapegoat? The scapegoat is the one that is going to be unfairly punished or blamed. People are dumping their stuff onto you. Sometimes you very well may have been the invisible child or the lost child, right? So you're being emotionally neglected. Nobody's really talking to you. You're off to the side, kind of doing your own thing. And what happens is this breeds what we call codependence, right? So we ended up on the orange side of the fence. And what happens is that overgivers, enablers, codependents attract narcissists. This is a dysfunctional cycle that we must break. So again, this is why you attracted a narcissist. We learned this from the dysfunctional family system. So most of us here, myself included, that's why I created this channel, to help other people break out of the cycle. Is that if you are here, you are most likely groomed to be in that scapegoat role or the lost child role. But the good thing about this is that this is how you can then break the cycle. Yes, so very, very good comment here by Lynn Rose. I recently realized my 91-year-old mother is a full-fledged narcissist. I'm the scapegoat. And now I know why narcissistic love felt right. And it's not love, right? It's emotional unavailability. And it is familiar because it came from the family. That is why it's a familiar spirit. It's a familiar energy, right? And this was the cycle that we had to break out of, because again, this is coming from our childhood upbringing, right? This is the soil that we were planted in. And it's just that today we have to go to more healthier grounds, right? So yeah, we're gonna talk more about our spirit guides and so on in just a bit. But know that the stem or the root of this is coming from the narcissistic dysfunctional family system. And it is the scapegoat treatment that we have to unlearn, and the lost child treatment, and being the surrogate parent, parenting your other siblings, stepping in to emotionally nurture your parents and so on. That is what we have to stop. That is the overextending. That is the codependent behavior, which is a lack of boundaries on our end. So we have to learn proper boundaries, proper spiritual boundaries, emotional boundaries, psychological boundaries, physical boundaries, sexual boundaries, financial boundaries, and so on. Because what it is that we adopted a role where we downplayed abusive behavior. And this is why we had, we let things slide, because again, we didn't have appropriate boundaries. Okay, nice. Ellie's coming in from Pennsylvania. And yeah, thank you for this live, and thank you for logging in. So today is our second live. I did one yesterday at the same time. So just stay tuned on the post tab, and I'll just let y'all know when the next live is coming up. I'll probably do like one over the weekend, one like on a random night, early morning. Again, just stay tuned, because people are coming in from all types of time zones. So hopefully the other lives make sense time wise, depending on your time zone. And I kind of, when I post it, I post kind of the alternative time zone time. So, wherever you're coming from, hopefully that makes sense for you. But I'll start to do some, random ones in the nighttime, on the weekends, and plug away at it that way. Nayara writes, how do you welcome friendship and relationships after being in isolation from being around a narcissist? Very, very good question, right? How do you feel safe enough to connect with other people, after you went through this abusive, traumatic situation? Very, very good question. So know that it's going to take some time for you to feel safe again in your body, right? Because again, narcissistic abuse is spiritual warfare, right? And soldiers go to war, they come out with PTSD, right? That's post traumatic stress disorder. And we, being spiritual warriors, whether we signed up for it or not, or whether you are aware of it or not, we go through narcissistic abuse again as spiritual warriors, and we come out with complex post traumatic stress disorder. So, see, is as you heal from narcissistic abuse, and give me a second, I'm going to bring up another slide here. So, there's a slight delay with YouTube. So, give it a couple of seconds. I'm going to bring it over here in just a second. But know that the aftermath, people, of narcissistic abuse is complex post traumatic stress disorder. So you're going to have to give yourself some time for your nervous system to be regulated again. As you heal, what it is that you're going to be re-regulating your nervous system. Because, you went through a very traumatic experience again. People, be very patient with yourself, right? So you very well may have, you're hyper vigilant, right? Anxious, insomnia, lack of sleep, irritability, maybe have like a low grade depression. Again, all of these are symptoms of complex post traumatic stress disorder, right? A loss of a sense of self, people. Again, forgive yourself. Again, you were in the upside down, you were in hell. This person was dragging you through hell, lying to you, deceiving you, cheating on you. Some of these people ran off with your money, tried to leave you homeless and penniless. Again, that's a traumatic thing to happen. And again, you weren't aware of it, right? So again, this is why we come out with CPTSD. You could be having autoimmune issues, right? It messes up your autoimmune system, messes up your thyroid system, your hormone system, back pain. I've heard so many things, headaches. Maybe you lost weight, you gained weight, memory loss, illnesses. People can pop up because of this. So what it is that all of this needs to be dissipated so that you feel safe again within your body to trust other people, right? So how do you trust other people, after you go through all of this? It takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes healing. Because number one, again, you have to acknowledge that you went through a very traumatic experience. And in the isolation, right, you're healing yourself and you're working on yourself. And what is happening is, what it is you're going to know your energy separate from other people's energies, right? You're going to know your energy, and this is you. You're going to know your energy versus a toxic person. And this is the healing. Because what it is, you don't want to get entangled again with another pathological narcissist. Because if you do, you already know what's going to happen. You're going to get more CPTSD symptoms, right? So know that it's okay to be a little bit standoffish as you're coming out of healing and isolation. And what it is that you're relearning how to trust your gut, how to trust your intuition, how to trust that divine sense within you of how to discern the different people that are here, right? That is why you're here on the channel. I'm learning all of this information. That is why you're here in this life, right? Learning and growing. So as you heal, you'll get to a more courageous and a more healthy space where you are able to identify other healthy people that are similar to you. And again, these are going to be your friends, if you're dating again, intimate relationships and so on. So know that that part is going to take some more time because again, you're healing. You're coming all the way from down here. And again, you have to make your way up to the top part of the consciousness ladder. So, you're going to get, as you continue to heal properly, keyword properly, it's going to get easier for you to want to attach to other people and, not attach, but like friendships, intimate relationships, maybe business relationships and so on. But that takes doing the deep internal work to number one, trust yourself so that you can trust other people. So there was a trust that was broken with ourselves, right? And that trust was broken with ourselves because we lost ourselves. We lost ourselves in these relationships. So once we learn that to trust ourselves again and to love ourselves again, then we can go into these friendships and other intimate relationships, business relationships, and so on with other people. And that's how that's how you're gonna get more friends and so on after this entanglement. The CPTSD symptoms have to subside. You have to address them first. You have to address the trauma, right? Trauma is like a wound. You have to address the trauma first, otherwise it won't heal. And as you address the trauma, you will feel more safe within yourself, and in being feeling safe with yourself, then you'll transfer that safeness. You will feel safe with other people. Yep. Yeah. Lynn Rose writes that your therapist gave you a codependence worksheet. Yep. So codependence is what happens when you grow up in these family systems. Let me go back to the dysfunctional family system. So yeah, this is what we're working on here. So we have to let go of the orange marker to get into the green zone, right? This is why I always tell you, get to the fourth dimension or higher. That is where you are headed. You're headed to enlightenment. You want to walk into the light to get to green pastures, right? So what happens is, when we grow up in these dysfunctional family systems, again, in being groomed to be the scapegoat, people are dumping on you, a lost child, you're being neglected. What this creates is what clinicians call codependence, which is it creates self-esteem issues in us, right? And these are the self-esteem issues that we have to work on and heal. Otherwise, what happens is, if we're in the orange zone, and we reach out to manifest, we're going to reach out to manifest something very close to orange, which is a toxic person, right? We don't want to manifest from that low vibration. We want to manifest from a high vibration. So when we reach out and manifest from this vibration, then we get a healthy person, right? But to get a healthy person, we also have to be healthy within ourselves. And that is why we have to address our codependent wounds, again, that came from the narcissistic dysfunctional family system. So yeah, CPTSD is what we get, coming out of the entanglement, but this is caused from our codependent issues that we have that we inherited from our parental figures. And shout outs to Paris Dotson coming in from Wisconsin. Hey there. Yep. Yeah. Good comment by Ellie Wynn. We choose people with discernment when we are more healed. There you go. Discernment. And discernment is a skill, right? It has to be developed and it has to be practiced. And discernment essentially is listening to your intuition, listening to that gut feeling within you. Okay, so Child of God writes, that's been my issue. I learn one or two things from being with one of them and fall for other traps or tricks by the next one. Love, relationships, friendships, work, etc. But they're all different. So yeah, good point. So it may look different on the outside, but the core of this again is you have to address those childhood deficiencies that we have so that we don't attract these people in the future. Because narcissists are pathological. It's pathological, right? It's pattern dysfunctional behavior. So while you identify the different patterns that they have, they like to, most of them again are covert. So it's going to be a covert abuse. But what it is when you know what to look for, your intuition is going to tell you that it's a toxic person before you get entangled with them. That's the key thing in healing from narcissistic abuse. So, a somatic narcissist, is sleeping around, and then a cerebral narcissist is using their minds to manipulate, but they're both manipulators. They're just using different tools. And what it is as you raise your discernment, you'll be able to see them from a mile away. So continue to watch the videos on the channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out the NARC 101 course. It's a really good course where I break down the need to knows, right? But the key thing again is you must address any codependence within you, any self-esteem issues that you may have, right? Any emotional wounds that you may have, because what it is that you have porous boundaries, and this is why predators can come in. You have porous boundaries. These need to be blocked off. No predatory personality should be coming in. Yeah, so good point by Narc Survivor. Narc Survivor writes, when you go from lost child to scapegoat, within a single parent narcissist household, the roles can change and nobody's safe. Correct. None of this is healthy. The narcissist is not healthy. The enabler is not healthy. The golden child is not healthy. The scapegoat is not healthy. The lost child is not healthy. And none of them are healthy because this entire thing is a dysfunctional family system where children are exploited to meet the parents' needs. It's all an exploitation. Nothing about it is healthy. No family system that is led by an emotionally immature or an emotionally unavailable parent or parental figures are going to be healthy. They're not going to be healthy because they are stuck in the third dimension. They are at the bottom of the consciousness ladder. Yeah, let me drop the link for the course. So I have the course is on YouTube, but it makes sense to just go through it in the course format and read the books that I recommend at the end of each module. But it's organized in a course format. So let me just drop the link here real quick. Again, NARC 101 is a free 3-hour course if you haven't checked it out already. I break down most of the popular questions that people ask about narcissistic abuse. So that's NARC 101. How do people become narcissists? Why did you get entangled with a narcissist? And you're gonna see these very similar slides in the course. So take some time, maybe after work on the weekend, and again, just go through the course. And at the end of each module, I have some books that I recommend. Like Power versus Force. I have a book in there on codependence, and they're all free because it's all electronic. So I found the ebooks; they're all in there. Really good course. Yeah, very good point by Global, right? To in order, seeing the past, we have to understand what we survived. Very important. It is important to understand, why you ended up where you were and where it came from. And again, it came from this dysfunctional family system. Let me scroll down a little bit more. So both, what you will see here again, all these colors are linked to the Hawkins scale, right? Somebody's in the red zone, somebody is in the orange zone. So wherever you find an abuser, you will find a victim. Wherever you find a victim, you will find an abuser. And both of these people are in victim abuser consciousness, right? And we are the orange marker in this example. And this is what we must break. And we have to let go of an orange marker to get to the green zone, right? We have to let go of a lower level emotion to get to a higher level so that we can properly heal, so that we can ascend. Because if you're in victim abuser consciousness, you are going to be abused. If you commune with pathological narcissists, it comes with abuse by default. Narcissists are abusers. Emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse, because they're in victim abuser consciousness. That is why you cannot have healthy relationships with them, because they are against health. Narcissists are against health. They are for sickness. Yeah, so yeah, good comment here by Ellie Wynn. We'll also feel certain in ourselves, and we can be patient and careful in re-entering social life. That is exactly it right there. You have to be mindful. Again, y'all, when you're connecting with people, because I also did another video on the channel where I said that Earth is 85% dark. And again, in that 85% are the narcissists and the enablers. Let me say that again. In that 85% of people on this planet that are unconscious, it includes the narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, serial killers, serial cannibals, and the people that enable their bad behavior. So what you will see is that there are more enablers than narcissists. There are more flying monkeys than narcissists. And flying monkeys are not healthy because flying monkeys are in the orange zone, right next to the red zone. None of them are healthy. So you cannot commune with narcissists, and you cannot commune with anybody that communes with a narcissist, which includes their enablers. You know that enablers are not on your side. Enablers are not on your side. Enablers are on the side of the narcissist. Very important thing for you to understand, people. Enablers are on the side of the narcissist. You cannot commune with enablers. Yeah, so if the audio is a little bit choppy, so YouTube is off today for some reason. It's the same computer, same settings, just like yesterday. So something is off today. But what I'll do is for the future sessions, I'll use a separate microphone to hopefully clear up the audio. Yeah, be very mindful of enablers. Enablers are not healthy people. They may not be as evil as the narcissist, but they're not healthy. And again, we were also in this enabler role, right? That is how we know that it's not healthy. Be very mindful of the enablers. Enablers are not healthy people. They're enabling toxic behavior. And this is why we must work on the codependence within ourselves. And this is how, we heal when we stop enabling, we love ourselves so that we show love to other people, and we wouldn't be enabling, a narcissist. We have to address those wounds that came from us being the scapegoat or the lost child. Yeah, very very good point by Global. I stayed with these toxic people for decades, but awareness allowed the separation, and it was a big change. Absolutely. Let me bring up the Hawkins scale back here. 1 second. So I'm gonna kind of draw out on the Hawkins scale where you will need to be to heal. All right. Let me do a quick switch. Let's switch this back. There we go. So You see me use the Hawkins scale often on the channel. A really good book by Dr. David R. Hawkins. And I like to, for me, I'm a visual learner. So if I'm teaching, then I'm trying to give you a visual of, generally speaking, what this looks like. So this is the Hawkins scale by Dr. David R. Hawkins. And again, the colors that I was telling you about before, they're the same colors here, right? Wherever you find an abuser, you will find a victim. And both of them are in victim abuser consciousness. Both will be in a suffering state. And this is, this is the narcissist, people trying to drag you to hell, right? That's at the bottom of the consciousness ladder, that is suffering. So know that to heal from narcissistic abuse, what it is here, this is what is happening, right? So we're coming from way down here, and we have to get up here to the level of like love, acceptance, and kindness, and all of that. It's a very big energetic jump. That is massive, right? So you have to work through the shame, work through the low self-esteem issues, right? Because after these entanglements, we blame ourselves because, we've been there for years, again, decades, it depends. And we're saying, how could I not have known this? I should have known this, right? So it's important that we don't blame ourselves, because blame comes in. Similarly, we could even feel guilty. We had these toxic people around our families, we had these toxic people around our friends, and so on, right? So what it is that we are going through a type of grief, right? We're grieving what we thought we had, what we should have had, right? We're grieving an illusion, because what we bought into was an illusion. We bought into a mask, right? So we're going through a lot of grief. We're going through a lot of anger, right? Could even be a lot of vengeance. Maybe you have vengeance in your heart. People, you're gonna have to let go of that vengeance to get up on the consciousness ladder, right? And additionally, we have to let go of our pride, because that fixing mentality that we have, and we could fix the relationship or fix the narcissist. That is dysfunctional pride. So we have to let go of all of those to get into the green zone to get higher. And this is why I always say, get to the fourth dimension or higher. Seek higher ground, right? Get the courage to go to therapy, seek a coach, seek a therapist, seek a counselor, and so on. That is what you're trying to do. You're making your way up to the top of the consciousness ladder. That's a huge jump. Right? Ellie Wynn writes, and I grieved for over 10 years. Absolutely. And you could be grieving multiple relationships, intimate relationships, you're grieving that. Then you're grieving the family stuff. Maybe you're grieving siblings. Maybe you're grieving friends. And again, grief is a very heavy emotion. And this is why you have to be very patient. You have to be very patient with yourself when it comes to, especially grief. Again, grief is a very heavy emotion. Be patient with yourself, especially with grief. Grief is down here in that 75, right? It's gonna take a lot for you to work through grief, because grief is a complex emotion. Grief has a lot of emotions within it that you will need to work on. So is anybody else grieving right now, or maybe you went through grief? Leave some comments about how you handled grief. Alex writes, grieving family is so difficult. Yep, it comes in waves. That's a very good point. I have another slide on grief. I actually have a video on grief that I haven't released just yet, but let me try to find that slide on grief. Again, very, very heavy emotion. Grief is a very heavy emotion. and a very dangerous emotion if you cannot let it go, right? Very dangerous emotion, because grief can break you. Let me see if I can find the slide on grief. Is it in this one? Here it is, 191. 191 is grief. Yep, very, very heavy emotion, right? Because when you're going through grief, people, it's not one emotion, right? Because grief is a complex emotion, meaning it has multiple different emotions in it, right? Way more than what is on the screen, but this is a good model that we can use to talk about grief. Or sometimes I'll just use the Hawkins scale, right? So know that as you're going through grief right now, again, especially for people with fresh wounds, and when I say fresh wounds, again, I mean 9 months or less since you've gone no contact, because it's fresh wounds. Because you'll really need about 18 to 24 months to properly heal from narcissistic abuse, right? So in grief, you're going to be going through denial, confusion, anger, bargaining, hoping things could go back to how they were, right? Depression. But eventually, we'll see is you're trying to make your way up to acceptance. And again, that is the big jump. Again, grief was way down there at the bottom of the consciousness ladder, and you have to make your way up to a more positive level, which is acceptance. And acceptance is a high vibration. And that is why it's going to take a lot of work in properly healing. Again, keyword, properly healing from narcissistic abuse, because it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of recalibration that needs to be done. It's a lot of work to get us to acceptance, which is where we need to be. If I go back to the Hawkins scale, go back in here. Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, grief is again way down there at 75, and you're trying to get up to 350, right? That's a huge jump, because the Hawkins scale is a logarithmic scale. So logarithmic, it's like an exponent of 10, so the 10th power. That's how much energy you need to get from one level to the next. You need to go all the way from grief, you're way up to acceptance. That is a lot of work. A lot of work. Yeah, you have to grieve many, many different people on your journey. Grieving family, grieving friends, the intimate relationship, sibling relationships, even co-workers, who knows? That's a good point. So Lynn Rose writes, an old classmate, a narcissist, was being overly affectionate. And when I went home, I suddenly had a violent throwing up without any stomach contents. Is that discernment or expelling something he put in me? So yeah, if you're around somebody toxic and you get the feeling to throw up, it's just probably a negative toxic person that you should not be around. It's coming more so from that level, not necessarily that they put something on you, but it is your body trying to tell you that do not go around that person again. Because that person is making you nauseous, they're making you sick to your stomach. Something is off with them. That is what that is saying. And if you had, even let's say you felt like a weird feeling also when you're around them, besides in your stomach, that is how you'll know. When you're around a toxic person, your body is going to be sending you signs. Like nausea. Nausea is one of them. Um, Lynn writes, I have tremendous grief from my many losses. Is there really a way to heal so much grief? I thought I had learned to live with it. Yeah, so grief can be healed. But what we try not to do is to rack up more grief. You get what I mean? So it's like, we don't want to go into another toxic relationship, with a narcissist, sociopathic, and any of these dysfunctional personality types, because grief takes a lot of time to undo. Right? Grief takes a lot of time to undo or to work through because it's such a complex emotion. And it's coming again way down there, from a low vibration, and you have to eventually move to acceptance. And between grief and acceptance, there are a wide variety of emotions that you're going to have to go through. All right. So you can definitely you can grieve, the losses that you have, because grieving is letting go of that negative energy, right? It is letting go of the baggage that we are carrying to get into a more, a better state, which is acceptance here, and accepting that, if it's like a narcissistic intimate relationship, who you thought you knew was not someone that you knew, right? And that's a very painful thing. However, in letting go of the grief, that is where the transformation comes. And then after that, in properly healing, then you'll have the ability to then get into more healthy and stable relationships. That's the goal. You don't want too much grief. Grief will destroy you. A very dangerous emotion if it's not handled properly. Because grief kills. Very dangerous. And Ellie Wynn, yeah, that's a good one here, Ellie Wynn. Feeling ashamed of saying anything, right? So I almost felt too ashamed that I hurt for that long. And to admit the grief on your journey. Absolutely. Yeah. So shame is a part of the healing process also, right? But shame is the lowest vibration. So we're working through shame, working through guilt, working through grief, working through anger, working through resentment, right? Working through our pride because we held on too long to get way back up there, people, to love ourselves. That is a lot of work. And that is why you have to be patient with yourselves. Be patient with yourselves. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that has to be done, but it is a lot of work. Very good point, Global. The reward for healthy living is being a mentor for future generations. That's it right there. Yup. Because if you can go through this grief, go through this pain, go through this shame, and come out on the other side, you're a survivor and a thriver, right? And that's how you can help other people to go through the same battle. Because if you're a spiritual warrior and you went through this battle, and you know how to handle CPTSD and all of these different symptoms, you can help other people to heal and grow. And again, that is the entire purpose of the NarcDojo channel, to share what I learned, and the other people in the comment section are sharing what they've learned, and this is how we're all healing and growing. Very, very good point. Here's another spiritual sign. Let's get into some more spiritual signs. All right, let me swap over the slide one more time. 1 second. So let's jump into some spiritual signs. What happens, physically. What are the signs that you're going to be seeing when you're around these toxic people? But two of them just popped up in the comment section. So look out for physical ailments, physical signs in your bodies, right? When you are around these toxic personalities. 93. Page 93. Let me switch to slide 93. Swap. All right, let's see. Yeah, so Child of God writes, right after ending a conversation with a woman I know is extremely narcissistic, I started coughing and struggling to breathe. You see how people have these strange symptoms? when you were a narcissist, that is a red flag, and that is something that you need to look out for. So look out for nausea, right? Nausea, again, that is not your nausea. You know, again, your normal self versus when something is off, right? And again, when you're around these entities, something will feel off, right? You go around them and you want to throw up all of a sudden. And maybe you go around them and you just start itching, like something is off, you're not normal, right? And similarly here, that child of God writes, just coughing and struggling to breathe, like something is strangling you all of a sudden. Your intuition should be on high alert, like danger, danger, alert, alert, something is wrong, alert, alert. Something is wrong if something like that is happening. Nothing is normal, again, about people that are possessed. Nothing is normal about these possessed people. You Candy B writes, I get headaches around my siblings. Yep, there you go. Headaches. Headaches out of nowhere, right? Migraines out of nowhere. These are the things that you have to look out for. Nausea. All of a sudden, your back is just hurting you. You have stomach issues. You're getting, symptoms of IBS. Irritable bowel syndrome. That is your body trying to tell you that something is off. Something is off about this person that you are around. Something is off. That is why you feel off. That is why you feel off. Narcissism, people, is not genetic, it's inherited. So Zariah writes, I believe my sons are narcissists. Then if your sons are narcissists, then your sons were hanging around a narcissistic toxic person. So find the person that your children were hanging around that is toxic and dysfunctional, and you will understand why they became a narcissist. Who were the children communing with that was toxic, that was abandoning them, that was gaslighting them? Who is that person? You find me somebody that is toxic, show me who raised them. It's not a DNA issue, it's inherited. The same reason why we ended up enablers is the same reason why people become narcissists. Narcissists hang around narcissists. Who were the children hanging around for them to become narcissists? Similarly, who were you hanging around for you to become an enabler? There you go. So if there's a covert narcissist in the picture, a covert narcissist will groom their children to be narcissists. A thief will groom their children to steal. A liar will groom their children to lie. A deceiver will groom their children to deceive. It's not DNA, it's inherited maladaptive behavior. The same reason why we ended up enablers or codependents is the same reason why narcissists ended up narcissists. It's generational unconsciousness that is running around in the family system, and these are the cycles that we have to break. It's not a DNA defect, it's not a brain defect. Who are these people hanging around? If you tell me that somebody is a thief, all I'm going to ask you is, who were they hanging around? Because they learned that thieving behavior from somebody. And they didn't break out of the thieving behavior, is what happened. So narcissists groom their children, especially the golden child, to become narcissists. Especially the golden child, not only. But some children are going to end up in the red zone, and some children are going to end up in the orange zone. Both toxic. Both toxic. So yeah, narcissists in their family, narcissists in your family, narcissists corrupt good people. That is how children become narcissists. Narcissists corrupt their soul. They abuse them, gaslight them, mistreat them, abandon them, and some children are not able to recover. Unfortunately, some children don't recover. So I want y'all to know that if you're here and you're breaking these generational cycles, know that everybody does not have the ability to break the generational cycles, because some people are reliving the cycle. They didn't break the cycle. And yeah, this family system, can create different illnesses, right? If you grow up with like anxiety or depression, it came from the emotion regulation from the family system. And for the narcissists again that are more possessed, let me see. Yep, they will make you sick. They will make you sick in many ways. They will make you sick. And Lynn Rose writes, I badly craved or needed an alcoholic drink when with him. I never drank alcohol otherwise. So number one, it could be that you were stressed out, but otherwise know that the entities that are attached to the pathological narcissist will also try to attach to you. So you have some entities that like alcohol, and when that entity is transmitting their energy to you, then now you want alcohol. Or if you were dealing with a hypersexual, histrionic, promiscuous narcissist, and then you kind of also had that urge to go and sleep around, that is why the entity is trying to attack you. And it does it in a covert way, in a telepathic way, that you may not be aware of it. But with discernment, you would be aware of your thoughts versus other people's thoughts. But know that some demons, you can have a sex demon, the sex demon likes to sleep around, right? You have an alcoholic demon, the alcoholic demon likes to drink. You have a drug demon, the drug demon turns people into drug addicts. You get what I mean? So if you are not a drinker, then all of a sudden you have this strong urge to drink. People, it's that entity. It is the entity trying to attack you. It's the same entity that was attached to the narcissist in the spirit realm. And in the spirit realm, it is also trying to corrupt you to get over to their side. Spiritual warfare, yeah, that is how it happens. If you had, for example, sudden bursts of rage, a lot of narcissists have that rage demon. And if all of a sudden you're getting like really irritable, it's that same entity that is trying to attack you. That is how spiritual warfare works. And it's very covert how they do it. Very covert. Very, very covert. And this is why it's dangerous to, have people overall, or even pets. Do not bring people or pets that you love around narcissists. These entities will attack anything. They have no love in their hearts. There's no love in hell. No love in hell. So again, those entities that are attached to the narcissist, eventually they're going to try to attack and attach to you. And depending on how wounded you are, that is how well they will attach. Because again, they're trying to breach your perimeter. That's what you're dealing with. They're trying to breach the perimeter. Again, your mind, your will, your emotions, your spirit, your physical, right? Your sexual, your financial. Again, all of these different dimensions. Whatever opening they have, they will come in and destroy. It's a trickster spirit. It is tricking you. So yeah, how do we break the cycle? We break the cycle by stop feeding these entities. We stop feeding these entities and we get the whatever help that you need. Because what it is that we grew up with codependent tendencies because we grew up in a dysfunctional family system. And this is a cycle we're trying to break here because, again, wherever you see an abuser, right next to them is an enabler. And this is the role that we have to break. And in order to get out of the orange zone, right, we have to put down that orange marker to get to a green marker. which means that we have to work on our codependent wounds, right? Our self-esteem issues, right? We have to get to the fourth dimension or higher. We have to get the courage to walk away and stay away and heal. And people know that you very well may need professional help because you very well may have a blind spot. Because again, this is coming way from your childhood years. So if you have a blind spot, either go to the NarcDojo website, book a coaching session, or maybe if you want to join the Master Your Energy annual group mentorship program. Otherwise, find a good therapist local to you or a counselor to address the childhood trauma. Again, this is coming from childhood to address the childhood trauma that opened up those codependent wounds in us, and those codependent wounds in us is what attract the narcissist. That's the abuser, that's the victim. Both are in victim abuser consciousness. And what it is you will figure out as you heal that you don't need to be a victim. So you'll build your boundaries, right? You're rebuilding your self-esteem. And that is why you'll get the courage to heal. And in that healed state, then you can attract more people that are at your vibration, right? These are the people that are equally yoked to you. So know that it is completely possible to heal from narcissistic abuse. However, you have to address the core issues of shame, low self-esteem, codependence, a lack of boundaries, etc., that caused this to happen in the first place. So either book a session with me via the NarcDojo website, or again, find a really good therapist or a coach or a counselor near to you that understands healing in this domain. And I also want to add that people know that every therapist or every counselor may not understand narcissistic abuse, right? So it is important that you use your discernment, right? Use your discernment to find someone that's the right fit for you. Again, always use discernment. Don't assume that, if somebody is a therapist right off the bat, they know what you're going through, because therapy is a wide thing, right? Have to use discernment. So check out the NarcDojo.com website for the different coaching options and solutions. If you haven't already, I covered this in the NARC 101 course. It's a free 3-hour course where I break down the need to knows about narcissistic abuse and healing. All right. But we have to address those codependent emotional wounds, those wounds of emotional neglect, of feeling lonely and helpless. And again, we have to learn how to build those proper boundaries so that these toxic personalities don't come in. This is the cycle that we're breaking. We shouldn't be an enabler. What it is that we want to be a healthy person so that we attract other healthy people that are similar to us. That is the fourth dimension or higher. Again, and also know that it's going to take a good 18 to 24 months to heal, minimum. It's going to take a minimum of 18 to 24 months to truly address where this was coming from. So after you go no contact is the first step, yes. Then there's a lot of healing to be done. You have to revisit that relationship. Let's say it's an intimate relationship. You have to revisit that intimate relationship and also go way back to childhood, right? Childhood years, your teenage years, and figure out those things that caused this attachment to happen. And it's going to take some time. And again, approximately 18 to 24 months. It's going to take some time. So addressing childhood trauma takes time because you're going to have to go way back. And it very well may be that, you don't remember certain things that happened because your mind blocked it out, right? Your mind suppressed those memories. So with the right therapist, with the right coach, with the right counselor, they can guide you to go back and look at those traumatic things, bring those to the surface because they're subconscious. So the subconscious mind is at the bottom of the mind. And we can bring all of that to the top of the mind, to the conscious mind. And that is how you can address the trauma to heal. So understand that if you do not address the trauma, you won't heal. So think of trauma kind of like a wound, right? If somebody got a wound, the doctor has to go in and flush out the stuff, right? They have to flush out what is in there. They have to, apply the medicine, wrap it up, check on it again in a couple of days to make sure that it's healing properly. So know that, again, if you can't do this on your own, it's perfectly fine. There's no shame in seeking professional help. And again, even if it's not the NarcDojo website, find someone that can help you with CPTSD, codependent wounds. Again, this dysfunctional family system. That is what you're looking for. But you can heal, but you have to heal properly. Because again, if you don't heal properly, what's going to happen is you're going to attract another narcissist, and they're going to be in a different body. And they're going to be in a different body because you did not learn how to properly discern the spirit of the person that is in front of you. Because life is spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So if you're into group coaching, like a classroom type of format, and again, it's going to be group coaching. Check out the Master Your Energy group coaching program. Again, all of this is available on the NarcDojo.com website. And if it's not group coaching, consider maybe booking a one-on-one session. I'll clear up, most of the questions that you probably have. But again, know that healing is not going to happen in like 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. Just to be honest and real with you, it's going to take time for you to go back into your childhood and bring up those memories so that you can let them go and so that you can recalibrate your energy to heal. Because we don't want to be manifesting from the bottom of the consciousness ladder. That's a very dangerous thing. And that is why we're reaching out and getting these toxic people, because we can't really see them, right? And again, we can't really see them because it's a familiar spirit. It's a familiar spirit that came from the family. See, that's where the dysfunction is. And that is why we have to go in and heal and, flush out that wound, clear it out, put in the proper dressing so that we can properly heal. So the core of this, again, let me bring up that dysfunctional family system slide. The core of this, the narcissistic dysfunctional family system, y'all. So understand the narcissistic dysfunctional family system. I have a playlist, maybe like 15 or so videos in the playlist on the channel where I tell you about the scapegoat, the lost child, the surrogate parent, the narcissist, the enabler. This is sorry about that. This is the dysfunction that we are trying to break. Nobody, we shouldn't be in victim abuser consciousness going back and forth. You cannot have a healthy relationship with an abuser. So in order to have a healthy relationship, we must be healthy ourselves, and then we must then attract and accept healthy people into our lives. So again, it's a familiar spirit because it came from the family. So my question to y'all, right? In the narcissistic relationship that you were in, let's say it was an intimate relationship, you're married, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever that is, or maybe it's a friend, or maybe it was a coworker. Which of your caregivers did that narcissist remind you most of? For the narcissistic entanglement that you were in, which of your caregivers did the narcissist most remind you of? Because it is a familiar spirit. Who were they more familiar to? Maternal figure, paternal figure. Who is it? Again, for the narcissist in your life, who did they remind you of? That is what you need to heal. And you're going to have to go again way back into your childhood to figure out those different things, right? Again, emotional neglect, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, again, whatever these things are, and bring that forward so that we can heal, right? So there you go. Candy B says father. So the father could be the main toxic person, but also, again, look at the maternal figure. Again, whatever your household configuration is. Some people are raised by aunts, uncles, family, friends, etc. And again, it doesn't have to be your biological, doesn't have to be a biological parent, right? But again, the narcissist in your life, people, look which of your caregivers did they remind you of. That is how you know. That is how you find them. And there you go. Ellie Wynn says the narc reminded you of your mother. So that's like the main toxicity, right? But again, also look at the other parental figure, again, depending on the household that you're in, because the other parental figure also oftentimes is an enabler or a toxic person. Again, there has to be discernment because everybody's family system is a little bit different. And again, this is why you very well may need professional help from a coach, counselor, therapist, pastor, preach, sangoma, healer. Again, whatever makes sense for you. You have to go deep to find those things, bring it to the surface so that you can let it go. Right? This is not a forget it and you'll heal. No, trauma has to be addressed. Otherwise, you don't heal. You're just if somebody has a wound and they don't address it, they just rots and festers, and maybe the person loses the arm. That is very dangerous. You have to address the trauma. So narcissism and codependence is inherited. You learn the dysfunctional behavior. Look at your caregivers, or if for the narcissist that you were with, they became a narcissist because of their caregivers. Look who raised them. Look who raised them. Again, if you have rotten fruit, check the root. What kind of soil was that planted in? Did the plant get enough nutrients and water and sunlight? Again, there is a deficit. That's why the plant gave you rotten fruit or unripened fruit. Something was missing in the foundation, right? There has to be that self-reflection and discernment done to figure out what those things are. There you go. Alex writes, my mother was borderline, and I keep having relationships with borderlines. There you go. It's a familiar spirit. It's a familiar spirit. And as you heal, what will happen is these familiar spirits will repulse you. You're going to get disgusted when it happens again, because you're going to see that you're dealing with a toxic person today when you heal. Whereas before, you would allow them in your circle. But again, when you heal, you'll only want positive people around you that are similar to you. You will value your peace, right? Because you won't want chaos. Okay, so mom, borderline, and dad, covert narcissist. There you go. Toxic left, toxic right. So there's toxicity. That's the main thing. Figure out where the toxicity is coming from so you can cut it off. We don't tolerate toxicity anymore when we heal. We cut it off. Firm boundaries with abusers and manipulators, and people are stealing your money and all of these things. So yeah, Zariah writes, my mom was a narcissist and the father was psychopathic. There you go. That's where it's coming from, right? So again, understand, again, myself included, because I grew up, that's why I made this diagram, right? And I use the same kind of colors from the Hawkins scale. That's why I created the diagram, because I grew up in a similar level of dysfunction. So know that children that grow up in these dysfunctional family systems, either again, come out narcissistic or enabling codependent type of behavior. And enablers attract narcissists, narcissists attract enablers. Overgivers attract takers, takers attract overgivers. We don't want to be in this circle. We want to be over here, healthy. So we want to be off this chart and heal. And again, the healing is going to take time. So write it down. Let's say you're 5 months in or 7 months in, to your healing journey, since you got no contact and you're watching the videos and, you're going to therapy or whatever you're doing. Know that it's going to take you people a good 18 to 24 months for this to really sink in. Not to say you won't get results before, but again, for it to really sink in so that you can truly discern the people that are in front of you. Because there are healthy people and there are toxic people. And we have to know how to discern healthy people versus toxic people. And this was not taught to us because we grew up in dysfunction and we normalized dysfunction. And that is why we have to clean that up in our adulthood. There you go. Good comment by Lynn Rose. The closer I got to God, as we're getting to God, you're getting higher, right? The closer to God I became, my world was filled with attacks on all fronts. Yeah, because the low vibrational beings are trying to drag you down to their level, right? Because what it is, people, narcissists are parasites, and they get a free ride through life by attaching themselves to people, and all they're doing is dragging you down and draining your energy. So as you ascend, you will get attacks, but you will also be protected, or you'll know how to protect yourself. You know how to call on your spirit guides, your angel guides, your ancestors, your, godly spirits, and so on. But this is it. Light versus dark, good versus bad, God versus the devil. This is it right here. And that is why you have to understand spirituality and understand that life is spiritual. And there is a line in the sand. You have to know how to discern toxic people versus healthy people. And again, for us, we were groomed in a toxic environment, and this is what we're trying to grow out of so we can get into healthier relationship dynamics. Healthier relationship dynamics is what we are trying to get into. And that is why I named today's session I call it from scapegoat to sovereign, right? How do we get from being that scapegoat in that low vibration up to the higher realm? We have to understand the soil that we were planted in. So we grew up in some level of dysfunction, right? Maybe you didn't go through any physical abuse. Maybe you didn't go through any sexual trauma, but there's emotional abuse, there's emotional neglect, right? There's psychological manipulation, and we have to go in and clear those traumatic things out so that we can heal. Because trauma, again, is just like a wound. You don't want it, you don't want to leave it and forget it. It's going to fester. You have to address the trauma, otherwise, you won't heal. And again, you have to dive deep, because what happens is, especially for people that are listening, if you left one toxic relationship, then you got into another toxic relationship, and then you got into another toxic relationship, and this person's name is Matthew, and this person's name is Mark, and this person's name is Luke, and they're all toxic, you're not discerning. There needs to be discernment done. This is a repetition, right? You cannot see that they are toxic. And you very well may have a blind spot, and just get a coach, get a counselor, get a therapist, get somebody to help you. Because again, you can't heal from narcissistic abuse, y'all. You shouldn't be going through narcissistic relationship after relationship after relationship after relationship, because we need to break the cycle. And if we're not breaking the cycle, then there's something that you're not seeing. So get the insight, get the insight. So watch the videos, but know that even after you watch these videos or after you get off the live, you have to do the work. You have to do the work. Good. Look at that right there. Let me switch to the other slide here really quickly. Because yeah, when you're dealing with a narcissist, yeah, that you're dealing with spirit. So Zariah writes, the covert narcissist I was married to is deceased, but his mother has the Jezebel spirit and is still doing witchcraft. You're dealing with a sorcerer. These people use their powers for evil. They'll manipulate you. They'll steal from you, right? They'll send their demonic entities to attack you. They'll send those sleep paralysis demons, right? Those insomnia demons. They'll send them in the dream realm to attack you. That is what you're dealing with. That is what you're dealing with. Unfortunate reality, people. And this is why you have to be spiritually on guard. You have to understand the spirit realm to protect yourself. For people that have children, to protect your children, maybe have younger folks that you take care of, to protect them also. Because these entities like to catch them young. It tries to catch them before they reach 12 years old. And a lot of narcissists and, their family members, they're sorcerers, people. They use their powers for evil. They use their powers for evil. That's what you were dealing with. And that's the part, again, that you won't get from the psychiatrist and the psychotherapist, because psychologists study psyche. What we're talking about here is spirit. The spirit realm is the realm behind the psyche. You have to know these trickster spirits. Do not allow them to trick you. They're going to come in just like that evil Chucky doll, trying to pretend that they're a good friend. They're not your friend. They're a frenemy. You cannot love a demon, and a demon cannot love you back, kind people. Demons do not want your love. They want subservience. They want your energy. They want to drain you of your life force energy. It is important that you understand that. It's a invisible battle that may not always be invisible. Again, especially if your spiritual eyes are open, your spiritual eyes, or your spiritual nose, or your spiritual sense of sense, right? Your clears. Get very in tune with your clears. If you haven't watched the video, watch the video on the clears, clairvoyance, clear cognizance, clear olfactance, clear sentience. If one of these pungent, odorous, unclean spirits come around you, you know exactly what you're dealing with, and you tell it to get out of your home. You don't let it linger there anymore, because you're aware of what it is. And it is from the underworld. The belly of the beast, the man downstairs. That is what you're dealing with. And that's the deep spiritual stuff that you're dealing with. Jezebel spirit, Leviathan, Python, demon, spirit spouse, spirit husband, wetico, evil jinns, evil tricksters. Right, I call them a golem spirit or a gremlin spirit. You will see them eventually switch up on you. It's an evil spirit. It doesn't like love. It loves hate. Doesn't like love, loves hate. Loves chaos, loves drama. Likes to lie. Wants to kill you or wants you to kill somebody. That's what you're dealing with, people. You cannot grow with wicked spirits. Yeah. When these entities are stressing you out, just like Zoraya, right? Yeah, your hair will fall out. You'll have like a sudden onset alopecia. It's stress, people. The stress of complex post-traumatic stress disorder will mess you up. You lose weight, you will gain weight. Your skin will be off. It will throw off your hormonal system, your reproductive system, your autoimmune system will be off because it is a sick spirit and it is spreading its sickness to you. Call it the spirit of infirmity. It's a sick spirit. You're dealing with a sick soul, a dark soul, and they're spreading their darkness to you. And this is why we lose ourselves, because you're draining our light. You're draining our life force energy from us. That is what is happening, kind people. Yep, brain fog, right? Insomnia. Let me find that slide again on CPTSD. 1 second. CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, is the aftermath of going through spiritual warfare. Do not let anybody fool you that this is just psychological. You're going through warfare, and that is why you have to know how to defend yourself. Right? Insomnia, brain fog, loss of a sense of self, hypervigilance, right? Feeling like you're being followed. You have to look into these things. Yep, and yeah, they will try to destroy your reputation. They will smear your name. Yep, they want you left homeless and penniless. That is the spirit. It is a destructive spirit that you're interacting with. Unfortunate reality of it. And we were set up, because we weren't aware, right? We weren't able to properly discern. But with the information on this channel and as you continue to heal, you will be able to discern the spirit that is in front of you. And it is a spirit of confusion. And I've done videos before that you should look out for anybody that is trying to confuse you, or if you feel confused around them. There's nothing normal about confusion. Nothing is normal about confusion. So book a one-on-one clarity call, again, if you need someone to talk to. And if it's not me, again, find somebody close to you. Therapist, coach, counselor, a good friend, pastor, priest, sangoma, healer, etc. Find somebody to talk to work out these issues. Because what you don't want, people, is to find another narcissist. You don't want to get entangled with one of these destructive personality types again. Yep, and you're right. Yeah, they hunt people. They hunt people to use and abuse. They hunt people to use and abuse. Well said. And to drain you, just like Ellie Wynn said. And Zariah writes, I'm so scared to go in public. I feel like I'm being watched and my anxiety is high. Yep, it comes with it. Very unfortunate reality is that you're going to be hyper vigilant after you go through this. And again, as you continue to heal, as you continue to, let go of the rumination, you very well may be ruminating. As you continue to address the symptoms of CPTSD, those symptoms of hypervigilance, you'll regain your sense of self, you'll regain your memory, the anxiety will lessen, the depression will lessen, and so on. Because you're going through CPTSD. Because again, people, we went through warfare. We have to acknowledge that we went through warfare, spiritual warfare, that we didn't even realize that we signed up for. That's what happened. Let me switch back to the other spiritual slide. Hold on. So again, very important, people, to understand the spiritual warfare that you're going through, especially if you have like young children around you, because they would be more susceptible to certain types of attacks, right? Because they're younger and they're closer to the spirit realm. Way closer to the spirit realm, and that's why you have to protect them. And Child of God writes, I saw something moving in my ex's forehead as we were divorcing. It shocked the mess out of me, but I thought maybe I imagined it. That was over 10 years ago before I knew this. So it could be that you saw them shape shifting. Their face will percolate and kind of bubble up, and sometimes their cheeks get really pointy, and their eyebrows get really pointy, like a wicked witch or like an evil gargoyle. Very well could be that they were shape shifting in front of you. And know that when you first encounter a paranormal entity, y'all, it's completely okay to feel confused because you're not seeing something from this dimension. You're seeing between the veil into the spirit realm. And you're seeing the true creature's form. The creature was pretending to be a human being, but it wasn't a human being. So it very well could be that you saw a shapeshifter. And again, they come in, trickster spirits come in all kinds of different forms. Shadow figures, reptilians, black eyes. They could be shorter, they could be taller, they could be wider. It all varies depending on the entity that you encountered. Yep, spiritual warfare is real. Sorcery is real. If you want to call it sorcery, witchcraft, evil magic, dark arts. Again, whatever language that makes sense for you. Trickster spirits. It's gonna come in and trick you. And the first trick that it comes with is telling you that it loves you, and it doesn't have any love to give. You cannot love it, and it cannot love you. Love does not exist, but you can get a love bomb. And love bombing is the first step of the abuse cycle because what you're going to get is abuse and lies and connivery and deceit. And then that's the next thing with narcissists. They do strange things. So Zariah writes, he used to stand over me and watch me sleep, and his eyes were black. People, that's the entity. That's the entity. And understand that we were dealing with that entity on day zero, not only when their eyes went black or reptilian or when they shapeshifted. The entity is what we met on day zero. Because it's a trickster spirit. And it love bombed us, right? It got into our mind, it got into our ear, it got into our soul. And that's how it got into our soul, and that is why we were separated from the divine, and that is how they could control us or tap into our energy for a while until we broke away. It's a demon. That's what you're dealing with, and again, it changes form as it's a spirit, and again, that spirit will take whatever form it needs to. Whatever form it needs to, it will take it. And let me see. Lynn Rose writes, my brain seems broken for the past 2 years spent for taking care of the mom. My working memory and figuring things out, driving my car, very hard to function. Yep, all of that is what happens with spiritual warfare and if you commune with narcissist people. Those are symptoms of CPTSD. Memory loss, brain fog, cognitive dissonance, lethargy. Yep. And what it is again is at a spirit level, the mere fact that you go around these people at an energetic level, they can drain you. It doesn't even have to be an intimate relationship. It could just be you go talk to the narcissist and when it's done, you just feel drained. Yes, because it's spiritual. And at the spirit realm, those entities are feeding on your energy. I'm sure some of you, you went around the narcissist and it's almost like you wanted to sleep. It's not like they sucked the life force out of you. Yeah, could be a friendship narcissist. This is what happens. In cognitive dissonance, brain fog, memory loss. Yeah, it can affect your motor skills, your psychological skills. Absolutely. Those are the effects of being around these entities. Wendy writes, I have seen someone's face contort in a grotesque way, and I now wonder if that was a demon. It's a demon. When you see their face shapeshift into that gargoyle thing and their cheeks get like weird, maybe they grew fangs. Again, it depends on what you saw. Your eyebrows get pointy like a gargoyle. It's a demon. It's a shapeshifter. And what it is that you saw the entity, for a split second, and then it went back into it showed you back the physical side. But again, life is spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And if it is grotesque, that is how you know that it's a malevolent spirit. And narcissists, again, these people are possessed by oftentimes legions of entities, multiple evil spirits just swapping them out like a skin suit. Very unfortunate reality. And this is why you don't want them around you. You don't want them in your home. You don't want them around your children if you have children or your family. You don't want them around your pets. Bad things will happen if they are around. You'll start to see curses. Maybe people are dying. Your pets are dying. Your plants are dying. People think car accidents out of nowhere. Financial loss out of nowhere. People, that is spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare. So yeah, it definitely does take some time, to trust yourself as you come out of this. But I know that healing is completely possible. You have to go through the healing process. Healing is a process, and if I can heal, so can you. And yeah, a lot of people do wear masks. However, with discernment, you can figure out the people that are wearing masks versus the people that are real. That takes discernment, and discernment is a skill that definitely can be developed. Definitely can be developed. It's a skill. So any kind of strange things that you see, if you see like one of these creatures, people shape shifting, and again, you'll feel a negative presence around. That's how you know that you're dealing with an evil spirit. And again, that entity that is attached to them will eventually try to attack you. Again, this is the spirit realm. This is a war. It is spiritual warfare. Never forget that. It is warfare. And they don't play fear in warfare. So if you don't know what you're dealing with, you very well may get hurt. And that's why you have to guard up and be aware of what is happening in the spirit realm. Yep. People are possessed. Yep. They are possessed people. Yep, they are on the side of death, right? I mentioned in the videos on the channel that pathological narcissists, they're operated by an evil spirit. Evil is the inverse of life. You got evil down here and you got life up here. This is how you cannot grow with a pathological narcissist. They are against life. They want they want to destroy, they want to lie, they want to connive. You cannot grow with a conniver. You cannot grow with a conniver, people. Yeah, and there you go. That's a good comment there by Zariah. My life went down after dealing with this man. And they had you falsely arrested. Yeah, that is an unfortunate reality when we get entangled with these people. They are duplicitous in nature. You're dealing with a deceiver. It's a trickster spirit. It's a lying spirit. It is an evil spirit. And they're always manipulating and lying and conniving. Always manipulating, lying, and conniving. And if you see them rest, they're resting up to go do more wicked. Never forget that. If you've seen, black eyes, reptilian eyes, if you've seen anything strange or paranormal, people, you're dealing with an evil spirit. It's a malicious spirit, like a computer virus. It destroys. It destroys. It doesn't have any love to give. You cannot love it, and again, it cannot love you. It's not about love with a demon. Demons don't have love to give. Demons are ancient evil spirits that feed on chi. And your life will go down when you are around them because you're dealing with a walking curse. You're dealing with a walking curse, not a blessing, a walking curse. Curses destroy. So you'll see where your finances may plummet, your health may plummet, your spiritual, you're losing your sense of self. You feel like you're losing your mind. You see how you feel like you're losing all around? That is the goal. And the entity wants to plummet you into poverty. It wants you homeless and penniless and strung out on drugs and, leave you homeless on the streets. That is what it wants. Do not be fooled or do not be deceived by it if it comes into another form. It's the same spirit. Very good point by Global. The danger is not imaginable by regular people. No. Mm-mm. This level of evil, you can't imagine it because you're not an evil person. No normal, regular person is going to be thinking these evil, diabolical thoughts. No. And that is why it's so covert. That is why it's so covert and they can get away with a lot of it. It's very mind-boggling. So Lynn Rose writes, do we need to find a person to cast the demon out of us? So, we all need deliverance. So, not so much demons per se, but know that we all need deliverance. So, if you feel like you need that, sure. Find a good Sangoma healer, pastor, preacher, coach, whatever those titles are. Otherwise, you could do like your own spiritual cleansing and grounding to recalibrate your energy. So there are certain things that you can do, or you can get help from other people. But the people that really need demons casted out of them are the narcissists. And again, they have oftentimes legions, and most of them are too far gone. So they're too far gone to even get that done for that to work. And yeah, Saraya, self-harm, all again a manifestation of spiritual warfare. The entity was planting those thoughts in your mind. They wanted you on their side. You see how people get entangled with one of these narcissists? You know, you're thinking about harming yourself. It is pulling you to death. It wants you to be one of them. It wants your life. That is the spiritual warfare. Yeah, it will plummet your finances. You will burn out, brain fog, can't think. That is the warfare. That is how you know. Those are the symptoms. Those are the symptoms. And the Wetico spirit, or the Jezebel spirit, the Delilah spirit, the devil, in whatever language that makes sense for you, it destroys. Very simple, just like a virus, just like a parasite. It destroys. It comes to destroy everything that is destructive. That is why they lie to you on day zero. That is why they love bomb you. They know they don't have any love to give. Even narcissists know they don't have any love to give. They know they've blown up, 20 relationships in the past and they stole from that person and they lied to that person. They know. They know. But they're going to come in and lie anyways. Because it's a lying spirit. It's a duplicitous spirit. Narcissists know that they've stolen from people before. And, some of you had narcissists that stole money from you. Maybe you had a joint bank account, they cleared out the bank account, or they asked to borrow money and they didn't give it back. They know that they're thieves. Narcissists know that they're thieves, people. They were there when they stole your money. They were there when they stole your stuff. They were there when they lied to you. They know that they lied. And just like Global said, your defeat is a success for them. Your defeat is a success for them. Because what happens, people, is you're drifting way past where you should be into these lower realms. And this is how we end up like them. We're catching narcissistic fleas and we're getting toxic because we're mixing and mingling with the dead. That's why I say on the channel, do not commune with the dead. If you encounter the dead, bury the dead. Walk away. Because the dead don't have life to give. The dead takes life. The dead do not have life to give. The dead takes life. It's a black hole. Black holes absorb light. That is what you're dealing with. Yeah, Ellie Wynn writes, it's an infecting, intruding, malignant spirit. There you go, malignant like a cancer. Comes in and spreads. It comes in and spreads its toxicity, its toxic thoughts, its toxic spirit to infect you. Because it's a virus. It's poison. And Mary writes, he said, I can't win at you. Yeah, because they were trying to defeat you. They were against you all this time. And I know people that is very hard to understand. Because again, we were seeing a human being. But again, to be clear, you were dealing with an evil spirit. You're dealing with an evil spirit. And this spirit wanted to destroy you. Just like how Agent Smith wanted to destroy Neo in the Matrix. It comes to destroy. Do not ever forget that. On day zero, it wanted to destroy you. But they knew they had to lie to you. That is why Chucky lies to you, people. Chucky's going to lie to you and tell you that he's a good guy. Because he wants to come in and bite you and stab you in the back. Because if they come off evil right off the bat, you're not going to let them in. So they come in with a love bomb so that they can devalue, discard, and hoover and drag you to hell. And they're hoping that they're able to cut you at your knees so that you don't get up back. That is spiritual warfare, people. They're hoping to cut you at your knees so that you do not get back up. Know that you do have the ability to again get back up, to heal. And again, do not think anything is wrong with seeking professional help. If it's not online, feel like NarcDojo, find some local resources near to you, wherever you are. Because again, people are coming in from all different areas. East Coast, West Coast, Canada, UK. All right. Lynn Rose writes, how does an empathetic personality fit? Is it a good trait or is it a boundary issue? Yeah, so empathy is a good trait. What it is with narcissists is that you need boundaries. It's not the empathy that is messing you up. It's not the empathy that is messing you up. It's the boundaries. And again, we didn't learn proper boundaries through our dysfunctional upbringing, through the dysfunctional family system. All right. So keep the empathy, have the boundary. All right. So it's like, let's say you see a gazelle and you see a lion. The boundary is what makes the gazelle not go to the lion, not the empathy. It is our lack of boundaries that got us in harm's way. Because today we understand that predatory personalities are predatory. They're there to attack us. So while we are empathetic, we do not go across that line. We do not dip into the third dimension or the second dimension or 1D to go and help a predator. You don't help predators, you don't enable predators, you walk away from predators. And you find healthy people. So it's the boundaries that we have to implement. Very important to develop strong boundaries. Yep, global rights, it's a toxic play like hunting. Yep, they are hunting spirits. You're hunting spirits. And that's why after a while, when the narcissist catches you, they get bored. Kind of like a cat. Because they got you already. And that's why they have to go out and chase somebody else. It's a hunting spirit that feeds. Zariah Channel writes, why does God allow these wicked people to hurt you? So God is within us, and we were not listening to God when we were not listening to our intuition. God is within us, and we were not listening to God. We were resisting God when we were not listening to our intuition, or intuition that was telling us that something is off. You need to get out of here. Something is not adding up. That was us going against God, and that is how we got hurt. Yep, so can it be right? God told us to run. Yep. God told you, hightail out of there. Something is off. Alert, alert. God is your intuition that is within you. You see that gut feeling that you have, people? That is God telling you, get out of there. That nausea that you get, that headache, maybe you had skin issues, back pain, reproductive issues. You're getting erectile dysfunction, miscarriages, all of that, people, was God trying to tell you to leave this place alone. Leave that person alone because you're a wicked spirit. And it is when we go against God, when we fall into that trap, we fall into pain. Because what it is again is that we went again, God is up here, high vibration, and we went against God and we got trapped in the third dimension. That is what happened. That is what happened down there. God is within us. God is not some man in the sky. God is within you, using your spiritual tools, using your soul to manifest. God is within you, not outside of you. And there you go. Even Mary says it right there. The narcissist told her that you have been protected from God. Those demons know what they're doing. I'll say it again, people. Narcissists are not knowledge impaired. They are empathy impaired. They know that they are deceiving you. They know that they lied to you. They know that they cheated on you. They know that they are conniving. Because they were conniving before you. They were lying before you. They were deceiving other people before you. They were stealing from other people before you. They know what they're doing. But again, they use their free will to attack people, and they'll get their karma for that. And similarly, we got our karma for interacting and entangling with the narcissist. Karma goes both ways. And what it is that when we leave these toxic relationships, we get those blessings that were always there for us because we were being cursed when we were entangled with a narcissist. This is why we were losing our money. and losing our sanity and losing our hair and losing our health. Where vibrations were too low, we should not have been down there with the narcissist. We need to go to higher ground. Again, 4D or higher. Yep, and yep, we have to practice trusting our intuition. Yep, it takes practice. You gotta practice trusting the intuition. Again, your intuition is a muscle. You build it by practicing it, just like a muscle. You work the muscle to build the muscle. So when you get that gut feeling telling you that something is off, trust it. That is God within you speaking to you through you. Your intuition was given to you by the divine. Learn how to practice discernment. Practice trusting your intuition. Because we were dragged to hell. But again, you can make it on the other way out. You can go to the other side. You can get the courage to walk away and heal. And again, seek professional help if you need it. You very well may not be able to do this on your own because you have a blind spot. Yeah, good comment there by Narcs or Thriver. Just like a gazelle does not approach a starving or dying lion, even if it felt empathy, it knows that helping it will cost it its life. There you go. It's not the empathy, it's the boundaries. And know that again, there is a line in the sand. And again, it very well may be a spiritual line so you don't see it. There is a line in the sand. There are people that do not like goodness. And there are good, kind, empathetic people that exist. And there is a line in the sand that we should not cross. And that is the awakening. And that's why I say again, get to the fourth dimension or higher. Do not go below that threshold. Below that threshold are where you find the vampires and the trolls and the narcissists and the sociopaths and the psychopaths and the serial killers and the serial cannibals and so on. Go above that threshold. Seek higher ground. Cut off any dysfunctional person. Cut off the narcissist. Cut off their enablers. Cut off toxicity. Do not enable toxicity. That is why more toxicity will come. So know how to identify evil people, because evil people, again, are against the living. You cannot grow with an evil person, and pathological narcissists are evil. They use their powers for evil. They use their minds for evil. They use their will for evil. They use their emotions to manipulate people. That's all evil. They lie, they deceive, they destroy, they're envious, they're jealous, they're rageful, they're shameless, all negative qualities. So know how to identify these negative entities. There is a line in the sand. Know how to identify that line, because again, people, if you cross that line thinking that that lion loves you, that lion does not love you, because the lion does not have love to give. And it's not personal. Even when the lion bites you, people, it's not personal. It's a targeted attack, yes, but it's not personal. And it's not personal because the lion has to bite. The lion has to bite. Narcissists have to abuse. Just do not make yourself a victim. Do not commune with them. Do not enable their bad behavior. Do not fall for their sob stories about, oh, their ex-wife cheated on them or their boyfriend cheated on them, and oh, their mother was toxic and their father was toxic, and oh, they're a poor little covert vulnerable narcissist. Do not fall for the deception, people. Do not be a good Samaritan for an evil spirit. Find benevolent people, and you'll find good-hearted, kind-hearted, empathetic people in the fourth dimension or higher. There is a line in the sand, and it takes discernment to see that line. And again, discernment is a skill. Discernment is a skill, and that skill can be developed. Because there are some people that are suffering and they will inflict that suffering on you because suffering is what they have to give. Narcissists have to give you suffering. They don't have love to give. They don't have kindness to give. There's no kindness in hell. There's no kindness in suffering or survival mode. Only kill or be killed. That is what you'll get at the bottom of the consciousness ladder. And that's why it takes healing again is a lot of work because we're making our way up on the consciousness ladder. So you really want to get to the other side. Because narcissists cannot step into the light. They are creatures of the dark. Narcissists are creatures of the dark. They're not that deep. Don't add any depth to them. And this is why you have to find healthy, stable, sane, sentient people. And you'll find those healthy, sane, sentient people moving towards enlightenment. Moving towards the top of the consciousness scale. That is what you're looking for. That is what you are looking for. So we'll wrap up in the next 5 minutes to wrap up at 12:30. But in the last 5 minutes, any other questions that anybody wants to chime in before we close off today's live? And I'll let you know, when the next live is. I'll probably do some, nighttime sessions, early mornings, maybe some, some stuff on the weekend. So again, ensure that you're liking these videos, ensure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you know when these different pop-up sessions are happening. And outside of that, again, go ahead and check out the NarcDojo.com website for any coaching or help that you may need to heal. So know that life, people, is not about narcissistic abuse. Narcissistic abuse is something that you should overcome so that you can go live your true purpose. What it is that if you have too much trauma, you cannot live your purpose because the trauma is wearing you down. The trauma is wearing you down. And you have to let go of that baggage so that you can ascend. You will not ascend if you're carrying that baggage. So again, seek professional help. Either reach out to me via the NarcDojo website or check for a good coach, counselor, therapist, healer, sangoma, pastor, preacher, etc. near to you. Get the help. Again, it's perfectly okay. There's no shame in saying that you need help. I got help. So any questions that we can have here in the last couple of minutes to wrap up today's live? And good question there good question from All for One. You have a choice. Narcs can awaken people and eventually make people stronger. God shows you who are evil and removes them from your life. Yes. If you listen to the divine, you will know who should not be in your life. If you go against the divine, you will have narcissists in your life. Choose either one. It's up to you. You're either going with the most high or you're going with the most low. Who are you going with? The most high or the most low? It's up to you. Let's see if any comments came in. So yeah, I know narcissists are not loyal. You can't get loyalty from an evil spirit. Evil spirits have deception to give. And appreciate the compliment, Global. Yeah, when it comes to narcissistic abuse, there's not, I don't There's no games to be playing with evil spirits. So when people, ask, can you change a narcissist? Go change yourself. Go heal yourself. Go find healthy people for yourself. Change yourself. Narcissists don't want your help. You cannot help a demon. Demons don't want your help. They want subservience. Love yourself. And you love yourself by getting to the other side. Again, reach for that divinity within you. Reach for that love within you. Reach for that kindness within you. Reach for that compassion within you. That is how you break out of hell. Again, find the people that are in your dimension. Healthy people are out there. Sure, there are a minority, sure. But healthy, kind-hearted, loving people are out there just like yourself. You see them here in the live chat. You see them in the comment section. They're out there, but you have to do a little bit of discernment again to find them. Because again, we're spaced out all over the globe, y'all. And we're spaced out all over the globe because we are here to spread our light. All right? So continue to shine your light. Do not let these dark beings, these evil spirits dim your light. Because, they want you down there in the pits of hell with them suffering. You are not here to suffer. You are here to thrive. You are here to grow. You are here to expand. And you cannot grow in a contracted state. You grow in an expanded state. You need to be on that other side of the fence. All right? So thanks everybody for being here. Shout outs to Ellie, Global, Mary, All for One, Narcser Thriver. If I missed anybody, Lynn Rose. So thank you all for stopping in today. And again, I'll let you know when the next live session is. Again, if you need help, go ahead and reach out to me via the NarcDojo website, my phone, email, all of the contact information, WhatsApp, etc. is there. So get the help, get professional help if you need it, and continue to protect yourself, continue to love yourself. Right? Loving the self keeps narcissists away. Right? Protecting yourself keeps narcissists away. Vampires, again, cannot step into the light. Narcissists cannot step into the light. They are creatures of the dark. And that is why you must get the courage to walk away and stay away from these toxic personalities. All right, so shout outs to Carl777 coming in on the tail end. So thanks for that donation, Carl. And I'll see y'all in the next video, or I'll see y'all in the next live session. So ensure that you're subscribed to see when these future updates are coming in. So have a good Wednesday, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your days. I'll see you in the next one.